You know, you hear Philip as he comes to Nathanael. We have found the one that we've been expecting. Come and see for yourself and experience. And Nathanael comes and immediately is encountered by Jesus, who tells him, I saw you under the tree. I saw the call. I witnessed it. I have this image. The clairvoyance, the omnipotence of God. And that's all it took to convince Nathanael. And Jesus said, if that's all it takes, just think there will be greater things in the world. There is more in the world of God's kingdom and of serving God than you could possibly imagine. Everything you could imagine, it's greater. You see, this isn't about finding the Messiah. This isn't about one night that Samuel answered the call. It's about what it means in one's life when God calls and we respond. See, that's the second half of it. It's nice if we finally understand that God is speaking and we listen, we hear. But what does it then mean to our own lives if we know that God is touching us, calling us, challenging us to respond, to serve? You see, the discipleship of Philip, Nathanael, Simon, Andrew, Matthew, all of the disciples cannot be separated from the questions that they need to answer about who Jesus is in their own lives. Not who it is to somebody else, but who is this person whom we encounter? Who is this Jesus? What does it mean for us that God is in our lives? There is a hunger in us which drives us in a search for God. And so often we settle for something less. We settle for a transient image, a fleeting impression, a Bible story that sounds nice but doesn't grab our heart and turn us. Or we hear someone speak about the wonders of God's grace and how God has touched their lives, and we do a Nathanael. We lie back under our fig tree with a sneer and say, oh yeah, right. Sure, I believe that. Can anything good come out of there? What good can come out of that church or that family or that youth group or do we really believe in miracles? Do we believe that God is at work in the world? Do we believe that if something wonderful happens, that it was coincidence or human skill? Do we believe that God's hand was not helping a pilot land a plane on the river this week? I mean, let's be honest, folks. That had all of the degrees of absolute disaster. Doesn't mean there aren't disasters. It doesn't mean there aren't tragedies in life. It doesn't mean there aren't times when we would wish that God would swoop in and save things and it doesn't happen the way we want. But if we have no vision, if we have no ear to hear the voice, if we have no grasp of the fact that God is at work in our lives, then we are truly still stuck under that fig tree with Nathanael. We're still lying in the corner of the temple running over to Eli and saying, no, God couldn't have called me. It must be you. Jesus' response to Nathanael is, you will, in your life, if you accept the call, experience more wonder than you can imagine. My friends, the invitation is to come and see. Come and know the living the living God. Come and experience the touch of God in your lives. Open yourself to the wonder of God's voice. Know that God is at work. God is speaking. God is working. Know that when we come and sit here, that God is speaking, calling, inviting us to come out of our depression, our anxiety, our cynicism. And to respond to God's call to let our lives be changed and made whole by the wonder of God's grace. Speak, Lord, for your servants are listening. Thanks be to God.